name is Nigel Corneal, and as you probably know by now, I am the owner of CFM Career Finder Marketing. It's part of my BDM service network. So anyways, we can get to more about that later. I wanted to do this video just to address some of the questions and inquiries I tend to get from job seekers outside of Canada, outside of the United States, primarily people who are looking to work in Canada, immigrate to Canada. I get a lot of inquiries, and most of them are from people who are just starting out. They're just exploring their options. So first of all, let me be clear, I'm not an immigration consultant. I do not provide immigration services. I can provide referrals to such services to my clients. However, my function is helping people to find jobs. That said, the first thing you want to do when you start out on your journey to try to find a job in Canada, try to immigrate to Canada, is start with the government of Canada. I wrote some little notes for myself. So you want to go to www.canada.ca. That is the Government of Canada website, and you want to hover your cursor or click on the immigration drop down, and you'll see all types of options there. And for the purposes of this, you'll want to click on work. And in that, you will then see a variety of different options to help you from express entry, which you definitely will want to explore and see what your points, your score would be. You'll want to look at the AIP, Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, or AIPP, I guess it is. And then you'd want to also look at the PNP, or Provincial Nominees or Provincial Nomination Programs. Those three are probably the most common. You'll probably find one of them effective for you, and if not, then there's the old version. I guess I say old because it was what people used to do before all of these other programs existed, and that's just trying to get a job through the Temporary Foreign Worker Program, TFWP. Lots of acronyms here, aren't there? So in any case, you want to look at these options, explore your options, see what they are right there on the Government of Canada website, read as much as you possibly can about these programs, and see if one of them works for you. Now, when you get to the point, whether it before you register for a program, afterwards, whenever you get to the point where you're ready to get a job, that's where I come in. That's where I can help you by exploring opportunities, finding employers to provide you with the job offer and the necessary work permits and whatnot that you need. And that is a discussion I'll be happy to send you information about. You can contact me directly and we can have a conversation about that. And you'll see on all of my pages and posts that there's contact numbers, there are email addresses where you can send your resume, so you can start there. Now, that said, one of the issues that I find that really defeats a lot of job seekers, both foreign and domestic, before they even get started, is their failure to read information. And what I mean by that is that when you send your resume to someone, whether it be a service provider like myself or directly to an employer, your expectation and your hope is that they're actually going to read your resume. You would expect that if they contact you, if they reply, if they call you, that they would have at least gone through your resume and know what you have to offer, have an understanding of your background so that you can have an intelligent, informed conversation. Well, if you have that very realistic expectation, then you deserve to, I guess, reciprocate. And what I mean by that is that in many cases, myself for example, if someone inquires, I will send them a message inviting them to speak with me. And the message will say that they can call me anytime during my business hours, and I provide my business hours, and I provide a link to be able to check time differences. I will tell them that they can either call me anytime during business hours, or that they can book an appointment, and I give the link to my online booking calendar, and I say specifically what appointment options they can use. The number of people that will send me a message following this saying, can you look at my resume, or when is the best time to call you, or will literally just ignore it and start asking questions by sending me a message, can you help me to get a job, which I've already stated clearly that I can in the message. It's an indication that the individual didn't bother to read the message. It's not a very lengthy message, and it's fairly clear. So it's completely clear. So it's simply a matter of not reading. Now, I'm a service provider, so with me, you can probably get away with it. What happens, however, when you're dealing directly with an employer? When you're applying to a job, you're reading information on a website, or in this case, not reading information on a website about application instructions, about how to respond, or when an employer responds to you and gives you instructions, and then you don't read them properly. That will end your candidacy before it even gets started. So I guess my message here to all job seekers, but particularly to foreign job seekers, is read everything you can. Make sure that you read the replies that you receive, whether it be from service providers, people that you're reaching out to for help, or employers. They're written for a reason, they're provided for a reason. Read them and then respond accordingly. I guess the second part of that message is that I get a lot of people asking me, talking to me about, oh, there's so many scams out there. This company sent me a job letter, a job offer, and they said I just have to send them some money to get the visa processed, or a service that says, yes, they're going to get me a job within 2 weeks. I just have to pay this fee. Yes, service providers that will provide you with help, whether it be for immigration or for finding a job, of course they're going to charge. Nobody works for free. That's not how business works. However, if somebody says that they're going to offer you a job, if you receive a job offer and you've never interviewed, you've never spoken to anyone at the company in an interview format, if you've never spoken to the agency or service provider that is offering the job to you, that's a scam. No one, and I mean no one, hires people sight unseen. Meaning we're still at an age where companies don't hire people without speaking to them. Well, there may be one exception. If you're looking at a domestic agency, cleaners and domestic help, if you're looking at farm workers and those types of laborers, there may be agencies out there where you're actually employed and working for the agency under a contract to them, and they send you out to work for the employer. So in those rare cases, or in those specific cases, there will be situations where you will be hired by the agency. You'll never speak to the employer until you get to Canada and you're on the job and start working, and even then you may never speak to them. You might be speaking to a foreman or someone from the agency, but those are really the only cases. And in those cases, I think most of the fees and its visa expenses and everything are paid for by the agency. I'm not an expert in that area, so don't quote me on it. That said, just keep that in mind. If somebody sends you a job offer, if somebody sends you something and they don't want to speak to you, they're not going to talk to you on video or even on the phone or WhatsApp or Google Duo or Skype or whatnot, they're not actually offering you a job. Hiring doesn't get done that way. So that's sort of your first indication that you're dealing with some form of scam. So walk away, run away, and just leave that alone. You don't get hired without speaking to people, and that's really the lesson that I'm trying to convey here. If you're given the opportunity to talk to someone, take it. Call them on WhatsApp, call them on Skype, call them on Google Duo, call them on Facebook Messenger, whatever options they give you. I say these because I give all of these options. You have to be willing to actually have conversations with people. That's how you get good information. That's how you get hired for a job. I don't know if in your country or in your city or province or state you know of someone or have ever gotten a job without actually being interviewed or without talking to someone, but I've never heard of anybody doing that. So keep that in mind when you're searching, and you'll have more success. So like I said, specifically to the foreign job seekers out there, start at the Government of Canada website. Again, it's www.canada.ca. You want to look under the immigration link, express entry, Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, provincial nominees. You'll see information on family sponsorships. Everything you want is right there. You don't need to go anywhere else, but start there to get the information that you need. Remember, as I said, no one gets hired without speaking to someone, except for those very rare exceptions. When you get a reply, when someone sends you information, read it. Don't make another step until you read, and I mean read through it. A lot of people, they read the first paragraph and they make a call or send a message or do something. Read the whole thing. Inform yourself. Educate yourself. That's how you also avoid being scammed. Okay? Read, understand, explore, investigate, visit LinkedIn profiles, visit social media profiles, see who you're talking to, connect with the people that you're dealing with on Facebook. If they're legitimate, if they're real, they're going to be willing to connect with you. They're going to be willing to have you go through their LinkedIn profiles. I actually had one gentleman say to me, well, I think he lost something like $800 with a company. Before he paid them, they said they wouldn't let him look at give him access to their pages and their LinkedIn profiles, because that was only for clients, and all kinds of nonsense that should have raised red flags for him. But he was eager, he was anxious. They painted a good picture, made it appear that they had a job ready and waiting for him, and it doesn't work that way. And all he had to do was pay this money. He paid it, and of course he ended up losing his money. So be careful, be cautious, be diligent, but read the information, respond, speak to people where given the opportunity, and make sure that you can reach them. If somebody's very difficult to reach, if they're very hard to get on the phone, if they're very slow to respond to you, those should all be indications that something is wrong. Take my advice, and you'll have a much easier time in your job search. I think that's all I wanted to discuss. Oh, well, I did forget one thing, because part of the issue with this is that especially when you're dealing with employers, is that when you don't read the information, when you ignore the instructions, and you do something outside of the instructions that are provided to you, you're reinforcing a concern or why employers tend to be apprehensive about hiring foreign workers, and for that matter even newcomers, because there's an assumption, fair or not fair, there's an assumption that you're going to have difficulty understanding English, that you may have difficulty fitting in culturally, that you may have comprehension problems. And when you fail to read information, when you fail to understand and follow instructions and follow direction, you're reinforcing that concern. So put your best foot forward, take your time, read what you have to read, and then respond accordingly as per the instructions that are provided to you, and you'll have a much better time in your job search. You'll make the right connections, you'll speak to the right people. Remember, I said speak, not just exchange messages. You'll speak to the right people, and without a doubt you'll be able to find a job in Canada, in the United States, whatever country it is that you might be looking for work in. I hope that helps. Comment, ask questions at the bottom of this video. You'll see links to my contact information, my LinkedIn profile, and everything that if you want to communicate and connect with me, and hopefully I'll be in a position to help you in your search. Take care. Bye for now.